Yeah, just the week, I thought, we talked a lot. I think there's always a lot of outside noise and themes and things like that with, people comparing scores and records and all that kind of stuff. And when you dig into these teams as a coach, you find out that all these Valley teams are, the body types. You could see it out there today. Like, there's definitely a lot of good-looking skill players on Indiana State's team. Their defense looks the part, too, as well. They play physical and got a lot of respect for Coach Mallory and his group. And we just talked to our guys about being player-led, and that's something that I think is important in every really good football team, that the guys in the locker room hold each other accountable. They understand that there's a standard of work and excellence that needs to be done every single day, where, we don't want to be one of these teams that, hey, I'll work harder tomorrow, I'll study harder tomorrow. We understand that the way you get better and improve is every single day going out there and working on the details and polishing. And I really, got a lot of respect for our assistant coaches and just how they go about their business every single day. I think our players understand like how important it is for their position coach for them to go out and play well. They take a lot of pride in their rooms playing well, and our players don't want to disappoint, our position coaches either. And I think that relationship that I've seen grow since day one here has been amazing. And it's something that I knew the guys that we had coming in here were going to be able to do that with those guys. I just, asked the players to trust us, and they've done that, and they've really poured into our players, and the relationships are second to none. And I just thought, the game overall, defensively, I thought we did enough on that side of the ball that they never, ever really felt like they could move it consistently. And I just, our offense, I think, it's going to take some time to run the football on those guys. They do a good job schematically. They're going to, be a bend but don't break defense. They're going to give you 4 and 5 yard runs and then, pick and choose spots to be able to blitz you. I thought we had some matchup things that we could have exploited even better, with putting Nate on a linebacker and stuff like that, and just the timing of it and things like that. We didn't execute the way we wanted to, but I thought, running the football, effectively, and then some really big throws by Jerry, just second and longs, third and longs, keeping us out there, just really dialed in on some of the coverage things and knowing like, hey, the timing and the depth and where the safeties are playing and how I can fit certain balls in there. And I think that's the thing that's impressed me the most with his quarterback play is, one, taking care of the football, which I think is really important. You don't want that position to lose you games, but just taking calculated risks and understanding, hey, this is a good, smart football play. Like, I trust my player on the other end of this thing to be able to come down with the football. And I really felt like, this is something that we needed to be able to do, was throw it and catch it better. And we did that. And then the second half, I think, coming out, same thing. We got to do a better job. We let one get behind us again, and not a really good play call by me. Didn't like going for 2 there, just something we had practiced for a long time and felt like, if you practice it all the time, you never run it. The guys start, kind of second guessing you, like, hey, why are we doing this? But didn't think it was the time and the place. And I got a little concerned there that, hey, maybe it took the air out of us. But, I think the thing I was proud about on the defensive side was, we turned the ball over twice, and we gave them no life after that. Like, we got right back off the field and got the ball back to our offense, and then eventually, we were able to score to make it, I think, 37 to whatever it was, 14 there. And I think that was a huge, turning point in the second half, or, just to be able to sustain the lead that we had. So all in all, definitely some things we need to work on, but complimentary football again, good start, and just some things that we got to continue to clean up.
Jerry, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. What was working today for you?
Yeah, I think we had a great week of prep this week. And then every week I think we're just gaining a little bit more trust in. You feel a little bit more comfortable with the guys you're throwing to. It's a special team when you can have running backs catching the ball, tight ends, receivers. Caden Dennis, a guy who hasn't gone for too many yards in a single game yet this year, and kind of just waiting for his moment and staying ready. And so I'm super proud of that. And then you get the ball to Sawyer and X in space, and you let them do your thing. You let Nate go up and get a couple balls. It's a lot of fun when you're throwing to guys like that. Throwing it up to BJ down there at the goal line, it's a lot of confidence there, especially when you can do that stuff.
Run me through, from your perspective, what you see when Sawyer catches the one on his hip and goes for 50 yards, and then just what's your takeaway from that?
Yeah, we had practiced that play all week and kind of knew the look we were going to get, and it worked out. Got the ball to Sawyer, and like you said, he wasn't looking at all and kind of turned, one hand caught it. And then, when Sawyer gets the ball, there's nobody that can run with him, and he'll make plays. And then after that play, I kind of looked at him like, how'd you catch that, dude? Like, that was a great catch. And, like, even just there, I mean, Sawyer wasn't a guy that was catching a ton of balls last year, the year before, and I think he's done a great job this offseason just getting extra reps with me, getting extra reps with the other quarterbacks, and that's something he really bought into.
What's the general feeling like? Maybe Jonnie, can you tell me, what's the general feeling in the locker room after this game? You know, like, do guys focus on the dominant second quarter or kind of a little bit of a second half, like, you know, maybe it was a little more, not so smooth. I don't know how you want to put it, but, like, how are guys coming out of this one feeling?
I think we coming out of this one feeling great. Just built confidence for us. I think we all just know we play good complementary football, but at the end of the day, you know, we got that 24-hour rule, so after 24 hours, we're going to get ready for the next one.
What did you guys do well early in that game to build that separation? What defensively did you like about your performance?
Coming out first quarter, just them 3 and outs, just being able to get the ball back to our offense really quick, just start the game off fast, and you know, that was really it. And also on the turnovers and stuff like that, just being able as a defense to come out and just make those stops, I think those are real important for us.
Jerry, how does it benefit the offense to be able to have a guy like 6'6" tight end and you can just throw it up to him and trust that he's going to come down with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge advantage to us when you have a guy like Nate out there who is a matchup problem. I mean, he runs routes like a receiver, but like you just said, he's 6'6". He can block in the run game, so it's a lot of confidence looking out there and you see that guy's on your side.
Jerry, I was looking through the game logs, and you've only been sacked once over your last 6 games. Do you make it a point of emphasis on game day to avoid those negative plays, or do you credit your offensive line for being able to protect you as well as they have been?
Yeah, as an offense, we always make a point to eliminate the negative plays, but I think right there is just a great testimony to the way this offensive line has performed, and it's a ton of confidence when you step back there as a quarterback and you know you got one of the best offensive lines in the country and guys that are going to fight for you on every play and look me in the eye before every play and tell me that they got me, and there's 100% belief and confidence in those guys that I have right now.
Jerry, your team's bringing a lot of momentum into a crucial stretch of the year. How do you guys keep it rolling into November?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is these last couple weeks we've had a couple great practice weeks, and guys have been really locked in and focused. Guys are bought in. The work teams have been giving great looks. Guys who are maybe not where they're wanting to be playing-wise, just giving it all they got. And, I mean, that's the special thing about this team. Like I said before, you got guys stepping up every week. I mean, it feels like there's a new guy who has the leading amount of receiving yards every week, and that's a lot of fun as a quarterback when you look out there and you got guys that you know are going to win on every play and guys that if you just put it around them, they're going to catch it. And then, like we were just talking about, when you have an offensive line where you can run the ball and get guys moved, and then when you drop back, you know that you feel comfortable back there.
Anything else for the players? Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, big guy.
Appreciate it.
And we'll continue with questions, Coach.
Coach, what are your impressions of Jerry today? You know, with the 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the season he's putting together here.
Yeah, no, I think, there's a reason that we're having success. I think everybody understands that you got to have elite quarterback play in order for you to be able to, get to where you want to get to in this game. The ball's in his hands, all the time. I just think the one thing I appreciate about that kid, like, he plays quarterback. Like, when you look at all the different receivers that are touching the ball, there's a lot of offenses where, you can spread them out and things like that and throw, quick passing game and get the ball out of his hand and throw bubbles and that kind of stuff. Like, he's dropping back. He's rolling out the play action game, the zone read game, the RPO game. Like, he's being asked to play quarterback and see things. And I just think, his development here, really, since we got here, I felt like, he won the offseason. Everything we were doing there, he won spring ball. He did a great job in the summer, too, as well. And then I'll even go back to the Kansas State game and, just not knowing for sure what we had there at that point, and then just seeing him move our football team consistently. Even at the end of the game, we give up a score like the fourth down throw was, if you remember that throw, was on the money, in a really the far sideline and all that. So just how competitive, he is, and everybody's gonna, promote their own guys, for postseason awards and all that kind of stuff, but I ain't trading Jerry Kaminski for anybody in the country, right now. Like what he's doing with his feet, what he's doing with his arm, and just, there's got to be something to say for guys who play quarterback. Like he sees it. He's a point guard out there. He sees it really well. Just him and Isaac and the conversations that they have. He's just gone to the next level here and playing with a lot of confidence. And I think all these different guys that he's raising their level of play too as well. Like they want to go out there and play for that kid, and they really, I think, understand that, hey, if I do my job, like I got a great opportunity to be able to get the football here, that he'll read the coverage the right way, and they're seeing it, like he's seeing it. So it's been huge for us, just that part of it. I think just how well he sees it, Tom, and then the other thing I got to give him a lot of credit for is just how well he takes care of the football. I know we had a few today, but I say it all the time that, hey man, the football is so important. They name the game after it, right? Like he takes care of that thing. He generally, respects the ball, and a lot of those throws that he's making, it's, hey, my guy's catching it, or it's, the sidelines catching it. It's never going to get, put the ball at risk. And the risks that he does takes, I think they're calculated, and he does a good job. You don't see many balls, just 50-50 balls thrown up. Like he's taking care of the football. So I think the combination of taking care of the football and then, running our offense and running at an elite level has been something that really, I'll go back to the first game. He's done it every single game. He's showed up and been consistent, and that's what the great ones do.
Are you concerned at all about the start of third quarters, or is it like it's also a good problem to have, being up 3-4 scores at that point in games lately? Yeah,
Things you got to be able to work on, right, and be able to mature and get better at. It's it was a point of emphasis again today. I didn't think we went out, we got a first down, we were moving it, and then we took a shot. Didn't get it, and then, give them credit. We ran the next play, and we ran into a bad look off of it, and now it's 3rd and long, and we have to get off the field. And then we get off the field, and then it wasn't a great call by me either. Like I put Blewett in a bad situation back there. I got to do a better job there. Like there was a call like that we were working that was good all day long, and instead of just going back to it and knowing that it would have been good again, you try something else. And we knew what the protection was and should have just called it again, and we would have got off the field. So disappointed in myself for going to plan B when plan A was working. So I got to take the heat for that one. But yeah, I think once again too, and then I know we've turned the ball over and those things happen. You got to be able to respond, but I will say that like in the third quarter when there was a little adversity, which we need to have those moments where you turn the ball over deep in your own end twice. And then just to go out there and get 3 and outs both times and really, we beat them on one. The one that we blitzed into, they try to throw a reverse on the very first play, and we're blitzing into it, and those are hard, and all of a sudden they get behind the sticks. So it's football, right? Like it's hard to say, hey, we're just going to go be dominant here, for 4 quarters. We haven't been able to do that. Our guys, say it all the time, man. It's imperfect coaches coaching imperfect players, and whoever handles the imperfections the best usually wins the game. And we definitely have some things that we can continue to get better at and grow from.
Any idea on the extent of Javance's injury, just considering his status as the backup quarterback?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's not a knee or anything like that. I think he really, I'd like to see him go down there after he got a first down, but he wanted to score and he's competitive. But I don't think it's going to be, we'll see here. You never know, but I do think it's not like. They weren't doing the ACL knee tests and stuff like that for him. So we'll see what the docs say, and we'll know a little bit more obviously early in the week. But crossing our fingers and hoping that it's just maybe an ankle sprain or something like that.
Do you know short term or long term what your kicking situation might be here?
Yeah, we have some work to do there yet. Obviously Kenton I thought was solid today off of it. our guys, our younger guys, like they have to get better here in a hurry because they're, obviously you get a kicker here. We got 3 of them, so those next 2 guys got to be able to step up and continue to perform. And I thought, even today, just some of the little nuances of the game as far as, after you miss it, guys thinking that, hey, we're going to go kick off, and stuff like that. Like, it's just, they're that green, Easton was, came in here early, but was a high school kid a year ago. So we got a lot of work to do yet in that part of the game. Obviously, get a pump block when you put in, some backups and stuff like that. Like, it's disappointing, and I think that I think more than anything else will, hopefully for those guys, I know they'll take it personally and be like, hey, like, if you want to get on the field, like, we got to be able to trust you to go out there and keep the standard. And I'm sure it was, I don't think it was anything. They didn't twist a guy or anything like that. Like, we narrowed down a side too far and we weren't able to, that's the guy we're leaving unblocked, and that's the snapper and the punter's job to be able to beat that guy. And I'm sure our splits got too tight and we took too long to get the punt off, and that's what happens.
Coach, you have a pretty dynamic tight end room. You have guys that maybe come in just for some run-specific plays, and you have a guy who can go out wide, and you can just throw it up to him, and he can come down for a touchdown. Just what does it do for your team to have that dynamic tight end room?
Well, I think it's huge. That's part of, where I think we can take our offense to the next level. We want to be a 12 personnel team, so we want 2 of those guys on the field, if not 3 of them on the field. I think they all bring, something different as far as their skill set goes, just like you've mentioned. I think they're, I think they're getting better in the run game. Some of those guys we felt like early on could help us in the pass game, and that they had to get better in the run game, and they're doing that. And then I think some of the guys that we felt like, we'll see where they're at in space, but they're better, on the line of scrimmage, have gotten better in space too as well. And I think that's just, like I said before, I think the one thing that I've been maybe the most impressed with our team is when I first showed up, I told the guys, I'm like, it doesn't matter who's upstairs. Our offices are in the 2nd floor. It matters who's on the 1st floor. Like, that brotherhood, the locker room, like, that's where our guys meet and hang out every single day. Like, that's what matters. I've been at places where there was 4 coaches in 5 years, and they were still successful at those places because the brotherhood, they didn't care, who their coaches were, or, who was coming in and out of the coaches' offices. They cared about each other, and they, our guys bought into our staff, but have really bought into each other and that brotherhood. And I remember the first meeting that I showed up, I told them that nobody was saying anything. There wasn't a word talked, in the meeting. They didn't know what the rules were, what they could and couldn't do. And now I walk into those meetings and just the energy that's in those meetings. And like I said, the assistant coaches and just knowing those guys would create real relationships and real connections with our players. And once you start doing that, and there's a lot of talent in those assistant coaches' offices. And now you get to see things like you're talking about. Now all of a sudden, hey, Nate's a pretty good threat, off the edge over there. Watson Hafer is getting better. Trey Kuntz is, a better football player. All those guys. Hayden Stays made big plays this year. Like, it's just a revolving door there, and all those guys I think have just a championship mindset. They're selfless. They play hard, but they cheer for the guy that goes in the game too as well, behind them or beside them, and want them, to do well too. So I just think that's what culture is, right? Like, sustained success. If you want to be good year in and year out, it's talent and culture. Like that. Those are the 2 things that matter, and I think that's something that our guys have bought into.
This is the first time North Dakota's had a perfect month of October in almost a decade. How important is it to bring that much momentum into this crucial November coming up here?
Yeah, I just told the guys, like, the games in November are the ones you remember, as a player. Like, they're going to be big games. We understand that every game's a big game, and for us, I think it's just to continue to believe in our process and how we go about things. And I told the guys once again, like, we're in a, what have you done for you? What have you done for me lately business? Like, it just is what it is. There's a story written every single Saturday, and it's based off of what do you do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday from, today 3 to 6:30. And then the story's written. And then after that, it's, it's going to be a new story. And I think our guys do a really good job of getting back to neutral, on Sunday afternoon. Our coaches do a great job of getting them back to neutral and saying, hey, man, like, you got to go back to work here. You got to be loyal to winning. There's a lot of work that goes into winning, and it's time to, there's no momentum that gets carried over from the week before. I knew going out here today, just, Indiana State looks like a really good football team. And I knew it was going to be hard for us to be able to run the football. And the thing I think our guys have gotten better at, we made winter conditioning longer. It was, 2 or 3 extra weeks there. We made spring ball longer because we wanted to be able to stretch it out as long as we could. We made the summer tougher off of it, and then all the double reps and all that kind of stuff that we did in training camp. I think our guys are more hardened and built for the long run to understand that, hey, when we do all those things, we don't do them for September, in August. We do those things and grind on those guys and make sure that, that they're trained and ready to go. We do that for October, November, December, and January. That's why you do all those things. And I just think, like I said, I think there's a belief in there in the culture and how we do things, and hopefully, if you have the right culture, that guys will perform beyond their talents. When they're in the right systems and they're in the right building and around the right people. And I definitely feel like there's some guys, that are stepping up in crucial moments. And once again, who is it today? Caden Dennis. It's a 5th-year senior guy that's been here forever, but those, we have enough of those guys, I feel like, that have the opportunity to be able to have their best year as their last year.
Jerry said the offensive line was playing like one of the best in the country. You said that Jerry was playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Both of those people have been benefited from how good Sawyer Seidel has been in these last 3 games. How much has he impressed you over the last month, and how much does his rushing ability and his ability to make people miss in space open up the offense, especially this last month or so? Yeah,
he's ultra talented. I mean, from day one walking in the door, you just, watching him was like, all right, like this kid is a really good football player. And I think the thing that where he needed to grow and prove to people that, one, he could be durable and he could do it week in and week out, and 2, that he could hold on to the football if we gave it to him, a number of times. And I think where he's really grown, here the last probably 5 or 6 weeks is he's been able to get some tough yards, through the middle, tackle to tackle. Like, you have to be able, I think, in football, you can do all those things to the perimeter, and those things are great. But sooner or later, you need to earn yards in between the tackles if you're going to be a really good football team, and that's where Sawyer's gotten better. Like, a number of his explosive runs, he's hitting it downhill in the A gap and getting on top of linebackers and safeties, in a hurry. I think he's really improved catching the football too as well. Obviously today, the one stuck to him, but he's caught the ball better here than we thought he could, before the season. And I just think that, he's just scratching the surface right now. As he continues to train, as he continues to get, stronger and add armor to his body, we think he can be an elite back, and he's turning into that, right now. Like, he's a weapon, not just a gadget guy, anymore. And like I said, that's where we really challenge him. Like, hey, we're not just going to bring you in to run jet sweeps and, get you on the perimeter and stuff like that. Like, we're going to hand it to you and see what you can do in between the tackles. And he's that type of guy now. If you challenge him, like, he'll look you in the eye and be like, he'll try to prove you wrong. If you tell him he can't do something, that's what you love about him. And he'll do, everything he can in his power to try to make sure that if you ask him to do something, you're going to get his very best. And I've been very impressed, like I said, with what he's been able to do between the tackles here in October.